Hello everyone. So let's see different ways to make a field required. And the first one is from fields and relationship. When we create a new field, then we have an option to make it required at the time of field creation. For example, let's say we are creating a text field and I will name it as my custom field for now. And here I have the option to make it required. We all know about it, but we are figuring out all the possible solutions required from everywhere. Okay, from everywhere means even if I'm using this field in a trigger, in an Apex class, in a Visualforce page, in a Lightning Web component, in a quick action, anywhere, now this field will always be required. So that was the first way to make a field required from everywhere in your whole org. Okay, now let's see the second way to make a field required. Let me first make it unrequired. Okay, by editing this field. Non-required. Okay, now it is not required by field level, so I can make it required from somewhere else. The other option is I can make it required from page layout. And the best part about page layout is it will be only required in that particular page layout, not in your whole system. Means when I try to create a record of account from Apex or from somewhere else, that field is not going to be required. Only when the user will interact with this page layout, then it will be required. How? Let's see. My custom field, click here. Here is the field. See, it is not required because we have just removed the required checkbox from field level. And from here properties, I can make it required. So this is the second way of making a field required, but with this, the field is only required on this particular page layout, not in your whole org. Okay, now let's see the third way of making a field required. We have already created that my custom field on account, right? And we unrequired it from setup, then we make it required from page layout. So it's only required on the page layout section. Here it is, it's required on the page layout, but still, as I said, it can be non-required. It is unrequired from all other scenarios. So the third one is we can make a field required from quick action also. As you can see, this is a global quick action, or you can say global action, and here is that field, my custom field. It is not required by default, so I can make it required from quick action also. How? Let's go to setup. If it's an object specific quick action, you will find it in object. We'll go for global actions. It is. Then we will go to new account, this one, in the layout. And from here, as you can see, the custom field, I can make it required by clicking on this properties icon and required. This is not a layout, this is global actions layout, not record page layout. Okay, so now if I refresh, and now when I click on this quick action, that field is required. So this is the third way to make a field required. First way was to make it required in your whole org. Second was only on page layout. Third is only on quick action. Okay, now the fourth way is to make a field required with a validation rule. Okay, so first let's make it unrequired from quick action. Okay, not required, save. And also from the page layout, let's make it unrequired. I'm removing the checkboxes, and I have already removed it from field level section. Now the fourth way is to make a field required using validation rule. In validation rule, say field required for now. Okay, we can name it anything, and here, because it's a text field, so I'm gonna use is blank. And inside expression, instead of expression, I will put down insert field, and that field, my custom field, here it is, insert. And this is the formula to check if it is empty, then throw some error. If this is true, means this field is empty, then throw error. And what's the error? Error will be please fill this field, only this error message. And where I want to show the error message? On the field level. On which field? On the same field. So user gets exactly the error on the field level. Save. Okay, so now the field is not required from field level, not even required from page layout, not required from global action, but with the help of a validation rule. Let's see if we try to create a new account. See, as you can see, here it is. It's not required, not on the page layout or on a quick action, and neither from field level. But still, if I try to create a record, provide any value, it says there is some issue. If I click on this, please fill this field, the error message is coming from validation rule. And that's how you can make a field required with the help of validation rule also. Okay, now let's see the fifth way of making a field required. This is in the screen flow. First, let me delete the validation rule, so we are sure the field is not required from here. Now I have just created a screen flow and it is empty right now, only one screen. If you can see, nothing here. Okay, I have just added a screen to save time. Now let's say I am taking input from users using text. Okay, input text, here it is. Let's give it a name, and I'm making this as a field which user will fill, and I'm making it my custom field. You can name it anything. Okay, I'm just naming it the same to make more sense. And here it is, the required checkbox. I can make it required. Now user cannot finish or go to next screen until and unless he provides some value in it. Save, and when I debug, and if I try to finish it, it says please enter some valid input, because we have made it required from our screen. Now this was the one way of making a field required from flow. The other way of making a field required from screen flow is a little bit tricky. Let's say you are not using this normal input text, you are using a field. Okay, it's a bit tricky one. Right now I am using a normal text input, display text or input text, and I am making it required easily. But what if I don't want to use this normal display or input text, I want to use the fields, the actual field of that account object. We all know for that we first have to create a record variable. Let's do everything. First, create a record variable, make it account object. So with the help of this, I will get all the values or all the fields of account object here for selection. Record object, record is selected over here, and you can see all the fields are coming up of that particular object, because this record is a account record variable. And it also shows you which are the required fields in that object. As you can see, only the name field is required, not account number, account source active, none other fields. If I search for my custom field, the one which we created, right, the one on which we are working on, click here. It is now on the screen, but I don't have option to make it required, and by default it is not required from field level. Remember, from field level it is not required. How can I make this field required in a screen flow? To do that, we have to do two different things, or multiple things you can say. First, let's create a display text use. Why I'm using this? For error message. Okay, and we will say please fill this field, and let's make it bold and red. So this is the error message. But if it shows up all the time, it doesn't look good. It should only show up when someone clicks on next. Then it should tell us like the native functionality of Salesforce or Flow, that it will tell us, hey, please fill this field, just like it was working in the normal text input. So to do that, we have to make set component visibility, some conditions over here. Okay, now let's add the condition. What is the condition? Only and only show this message when this field is empty. Okay, how? First select all conditions and let's type down the condition from this record variable. Because we have used this field with the help of a record variable, now whenever someone fills in, this record field variable will be filled. If someone makes it empty, the field inside this variable will be empty. So I can say record.myCustomField equals to empty string. Why I'm using empty string? Because it is a text field, right? So text field are compared with empty string. Whenever it is empty, show this error message. That's the condition. Let's click on done. We still have to do some few steps. Let's save and debug it to see how it actually working right now. Is it stopping the user from going to the next screen or no? Okay, now as you can see, by default, because the value isn't there, so the error message comes in in the beginning, and as soon as I type in, the error message is gone. If I type in, the error message is gone. If I remove everything, error message comes up. So this is one way. Okay, this is the one way of making a field required. But still, if I try to finish or go to the next screen, see, I was able to go to the next screen. It didn't stop me from going to the next screen. So this way is good only in showing error message, but it is not actually stopping user from going to the next screen. For example, I have another screen, let's say second one, and it has a display text, and that second screen have a OK message. So everything OK, right? Means everything OK means user filled the field. We are expecting user fill the field. So even if the error message comes, still it will go to the next screen, and that is the issue. We have to fix it with a workaround. Okay, it shows up please fill the field, but if I don't fill up the field, it is empty, and I try to go to next screen, I am going to the next screen, and that's the issue. So to fix that, we have to make a workaround. We have to use an assignment, we have to make a new variable, and let's do that. First, instead of checking this directly, this field here, I am going to create a new variable for checking if it is filled or not. So let's delete this condition and put down a new condition. So I don't want to use any existing one. I want to create a new variable. Okay, so new resource. Okay, cannot create from here. Let's create it quickly from here. Maybe new resource variable. Let's make it field not filled. Okay, so with this we will check if it is filled or not, and by default it's boolean. By default it's going to be false. By default I don't want to show this message. So instead of using it here, I will use this field inside my display component conditions. All conditions meet, field not filled, only show this error message if it is true. Okay, true. So with this we have make the default value as false, and we are checking true. So when we start our flow, this message will not show up. Only this message will show up when we make this field as true. So just to quickly show you, now the error message will be gone, because we have said only show the error message when that particular variable is true and that variable is false. See, error message is gone. Now I want to show that error message if someone doesn't provide any value and click on this next button. Correct? Let's do that. First we have to make a decision which will check the text box value. Check if user entered the value or not. So I'm gonna say first one is value entered by user or value not entered, and this one is value entered. So when the outcome is value entered, we wanna show user the next screen. But when the outcome is value not entered, we wanna show the error message. So here I will check record dot my first custom field same equals to empty string. With this I am checking if the user entered the value or not. If that field is empty, it means user didn't provide the value. Correct? So first decision. Then if the value is not entered, then I want user to go back to this screen, and I also want to show this error message. So I can redirect user from here to here back, but also I have to make this variable true so the error message appears up, right? So to make that variable true, I have to use an assignment. Let's say assign required value. And what is the field? This is the field. This is the variable. Field not filled, make it true. Because we are checking with decision and then making it true. Once it is true, now I don't want user to go to the next screen. I want user to go back to the same screen and the error message should show up. So how can I do that? Plus icon, connect to element, and I can connect it to the screen again. See, now whenever first someone opens the screen, if the value is not entered by user, our assignment will make that field or make that variable true, and then it will again go back to the first screen, and this time the error message will show up. And that is the workaround. Let's see it in action. Okay, so the first time, see, nothing comes up. If I put down a value, that is great. Value comes up. It should go to everything okay, working fine. But if I remove the value, now it should not go to the second screen. It should show me the error message. Next, see, please fill the field. So we are not going to the next screen until and unless we provide a value here. Now I provide the value, it will take me to the next screen. And that's how you can make a field required. Now another way to make a field required is using Apex triggers. Even if you are an admin, it's not going to be an issue because we will write only few lines of code to make a record or that particular field as a required. Okay, so let's jump into that. This is the trigger, and we have used a for loop for every record because there can be multiple records insertion at the same time, maybe using data loader and all that. We just have to check if the account dot, what was the field name? My custom field, and we can check it if it's blank. String dot is blank. If it's blank, then I want to throw error because and the trigger is running before insert and before update. Okay, so before the record is saved, we are checking if the field is blank, means user haven't provided any value, then throw error. How can we throw error? Account dot add error. This is the method which we use to throw any kind of validation error. And let's say this field is required. We can also throw error on that particular field. My custom field. This field is required, and let's say Apex. So we are sure that this error message is coming from Apex, just for checking it out. Now I haven't deployed it. Why? Because I want to show that right now it is not required. As you can see, I don't provide any value and it will allow me to save. No validation rules, nothing. But when I deploy this code, it's deployed, my code is deployed, and that is only one line, or you can say 3 lines, which we have to check in order to make the field required. Now let's go back and try to create a new account. This time, as you can see, I haven't provided any value, so my trigger should throw error. See, the field is required apex. Just for confirmation, I put down the error message as apex, so we are sure that the message is coming from our trigger. So that is another way of making a field required using apex trigger. Well, that's it from this particular video. I hope you guys learned something new, and I'm sure that the flow, this part was a tricky one, and it will be very helpful in future. Well, thank you so much.